Short one today. We'll give a bit of a presentation from Thomas Aquinas. Okay, so St. Thomas Aquinas, he was a philosopher in the medieval ages, and he has an argument from motion that he builds on Aristotle's ideas. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll catch up, talk about our assignment, see how we're going. Okay, so firstly, change. All right, so Thomas Aquinas says change is obvious. Change happens to us all the time. All right, for you to move from one space to another is for you to change location. Each breath you take, you're changing the particles that go into your lungs. Change is obvious, all right? But he says for change to take place, it requires the actualization of a potential. Okay, so here's an example. Let's go for some multi-colors. Here's a blue one. We've got a bowl here, all right? Now, it has potential to be blue. Okay, it has potential to be blue. For that potential to occur, it needs to be actualized. It needs to become blue, and it is actualized by me. I've just actualized it. I've actualized the blueness there by using the texter. Okay, so it changed from a black circle to now a black circle that's been colored in blue. All right, that's the change that it underwent. It had potential to be blue, and that potential was actualized. It became actual. That's what changes. The movement from a potential to an actuality. Okay? This pen has the potential, Flynn, to be on the ground. All right? Has the potential to be there. If I drop it, that potential has now been actualized. Okay? That me releasing it allowed that potential to manifest. So Aquinas makes this argument where he says, okay, we have a bowl, all right? And the bowl has potential to be in a different location. Okay, we could move it over here, we could move it here. It's got all of these potentials, infinite amount of potentials really, all grounded in the way that it is. All right. So let's say we want to move a bowl. Okay, I want to move the bowl to, I'm going to put an X for X marks the spot. If I want to move the bowl there, I'm going to use the stick to do it. Okay, so for the potential for the bowl to be here is actualized by my hockey stick. Okay, so it requires something to actualize it. All right, for change to occur, it requires something external to it to actualize it. Similarly, if the hockey stick's going to move the ball, well, the hockey stick requires something to actualize it. All right, and so you can have my hand. All right, my hand is actualizing the hockey stick, which is actualizing the ball. Now we should be very careful not to think of this like a series of dominoes, okay? Because a series of dominoes, like in the Kalam argument, a series of dominoes is what we call a temporal series, all right? Where each cause is temporally dependent on the previous one. Whereas all of these are occurring instantaneously. It's all happening at the same instant in time. So it's not over a period of time. If the ball is going to move, the stick needs to move. If the stick needs to move, the hand needs to move. If the hand needs to move, there's something connected to the hand, the arm with an elbow. Okay, the arm's going to move. So all of these things are moving in unison. The potential for the ball to move is actualized by the potential for the stick to move, which is actualized by the potential for the hand to move, which is actualized by the arm, which is actualized by... Now Aquinas says it doesn't matter how many layers we add, all right? There is always the need for some actuality that allows these potentials to manifest, okay? And so he says we've got potential to be there, actualized by the stick, potential for the stick to move, actualized by the hand, potential for the hand to be actualized by the arm. Okay, we can add heaps of layers on here. It doesn't matter. At some stage, whether we go, let's jump straight to the brain, okay, to neurons in the brain, all right? For them to make the decision, we're assuming a number of things here, that we've got free will and so forth, for them to make a decision to move the ball requires something to be actualized. And he said, this takes place in an instant, okay? We're not doing it across time. So what is it that's actualizing the neurons in the brain to make this decision? What is the part of us that's actualizing it? He says, for all change to occur, All right, we have potential, some potential has to be actualized. All right. Now we can keep going back. We've got this potential is actualized by this, which is actualized by this. It's like this chain of actualization. All right. Now this can only end, Aquinas says, this can only end in something that is purely actual. Okay, that has no potentiality whatsoever. It can only end in something that's purely actual. Because otherwise, there's nothing that that actualizes all of these potentials that exist. Okay, so anyway, so this is quite a hard argument. All right, and the reason he builds it up, he says there has to be something that is purely actual, that allows all change to occur, that allows things to move and to exist and to have the potential to change. So I'll just clear a bit of space, because Aquinas says whatever it is that's purely actual, that's God. All right, so and this is how they build up the properties of God's existence. Okay, so if something is purely actual, purely actual, that means it has no potentiality whatsoever. There's no potentials. There's nothing it lacks. It lacks nothing. Okay? Because if you have a potential, lacks nothing. If you have a potential, that's something that you don't have. So if it's something that's purely actual, everything is actualized in it. It's something that doesn't have any potentials to manifest. Okay? It lacks nothing. If it lacks nothing, that means it has everything, including every power. Okay, that's where we get omnipotence, every piece of knowledge, omniscience. All right, and so that's how they build up all those properties of God. That's why they say God must have these properties, because if it's a being that's purely actual, then it lacks nothing, and so it has to have these things. What do you reckon? We can stop the recording.